Thank you for participate today's talk. This sutra that I promised to share with you last year when I talk about the Hawaiian school, the investigation of the origin of life. Then we have different levels of practice, and then Zongmi divided into 5 levels, and the highest level is called Ikayana. And the focus is talk about the Tathagatagarbha, which means Buddha nature, and to investigate the originally awakened true mind. And then so this sutra, the Śrīmālā Sutra, the Sanskrit term for this sutra is the second line, the Śrīmālā Devi Shimhanada Sutra. Okay, we just don't use this name. And there's a more a complete name is called the Sutra of the Lion Road of King Śrīmālā. So from this name, you will know that the name of this sutra comes from King Śrīmālā. And so, oops. Hold on. Did I get the... All right, sorry. So in this talk, the first talk, I will give a little bit of background introduction about this sutra, and then the content and significance of this sutra, and then we will talk about the prologue, which means why Buddha preached this sutra. So this sutra is the iconic sutra for the Mahayana traditions. And from here in the US, we have all kinds of traditions and all kinds of schools and lineage. And then we need to know a little bit about where those classification comes from. So this is the India. The North India is the origin of Buddha's teaching. And then from the green lines, about the 3rd BCE, the Buddhism start to transmit to the south part of India, to mainly Sri Lanka, and then to Thailand area. So this green area, we call it the Theravada, or the southern lineage. And then later, Buddhism start to transmit it north to China, and then to Korea and Japan, and of course now to the West. And the blue lines are the area for the so-called Mahayana. Sorry, the red part, the red lines. It's red lines, a very big area is Mahayana area. And then later, the tradition goes to Tibet, and then it becomes a tantric Vajrayana. And then, of course, the so-called northern lineage, or the Tibetan lineage, all belongs to Mahayana. So right now, especially in the US, we have, you may hear about Theravada tradition, Mahayana tradition, and also Chen or Zen belongs to Mahayana, the northern lineage. And then we have Tibetan lineage. And today, this sutra belongs to the Mahayana tradition. And then Mahayana tradition, as you can see, that it's the red line, that is, it transmitted to a very broad area, and to adopt to different culture or different philosophical thinking, the Mahayana teachings becomes very open-minded. Okay, so T.D. Suzuki described this Mahayana teaching as a vast ocean where all kinds of living beings are allowed to thrive in the most generous manner, almost verging on the chaos. Okay, good and bad. And so the second part is Mahayana always talk about Buddhahood, and Bodhisattva or Bodhisattva path. And this is a core teaching for Mahayana. And Mahayana also has a vastly expanded cosmology and the theology. So you can hear a lot of Buddha's name, Bodhisattva's name, and as well as their land called Buddha lands, and their magnificent manifestation in many different ways. So that's the significance of the Mahayana teaching. Okay, so Mahayana doctrine, any traditions that should include the doctrine part and the practice part. The doctrine part, it further divided into different schools according to different specialty. I would say different specialty. For example, like Prajna Paramita, or the transcendent knowledge or perfection of wisdom. These are very good at talk about the emptiness. And so that's the Madhyamaka school or the middle way school, and also very emphasized about the emptiness. And then later, because the emptiness is too abstract, it cannot describe. So further, the Buddhist studies developed the Vijnanabhada, or Yogacara, or called the consciousness only school, that talk about even though everything is empty, but the emptiness, but it comes from everything manifests from the consciousness. The phenomena exist, and the nature is the emptiness. And then later on, the Tathagata Gabra school form in a way that that even though everything is emptiness, and even the consciousness formed phenomena are also illusory, and then people will get into like nihilism, that nothing exists. So Buddha talked about Buddha Tathagata Gabra, Buddha nature, to remind us that behind everything, behind all the emptiness, all the illusory phenomena, and we all have the equal qualities of Buddha, which is called Buddha nature. Okay, and this Śrīmālā Sutra belongs to Tathagata Gabra schools. And regarding the Mahayana practice, there are two significance. One is called paramita. This is a shared practice for all schools, no matter what school we talk about in the last slide. We all need to practice paramita. Okay, you might heard about this very frequently. like 6 paramita or 10 paramita, or we can call it 6 perfections or 10 perfections. And then we will get to that later, the following talks. And the Mahayana practice very emphasized meditation, okay, in order to realize the Mahayana teachings. And it has vast, just like the doctrine and the area that it transmitted, meditation method also varies. But there are fundamental practice for all the traditions. For example, my 5 methods for stilling the mind, the 4 dhyanas, and 8 samadhi. This is very emphasized by the Theravada school. And samatha, vipassana, the 4 foundations of mindfulness, all these are the shared basic fundamental practice for Mahayana traditions. And later, especially for Chinese school in China, we further developed into 8 other schools, but most popular one are the Pure Land, and which we practice reciting the Buddha's name as the main method. And also in Chan or Zen in Japan, that we further developed the Hwato or Koan, silent illumination, or Chikantaza. These are the main methods for Chinese traditions. And especially in Zen or in Chan, Tathagata theory or Tathagata philosophy is very emphasized, and actually based on the Tathagata that is the goal for the Zen or Chan practice. So Tathagata, okay. Tathagata means Buddha, Garbha means womb. It has 2 meanings. It depends on which sutras or sastras or aspect that you look at this term, Tathagata Garbha. It has 2 meanings, okay, and more or less depends on what you are reading at. And the first is Tathagata Garbha means an intrinsic nature that already exists in every one of us, no matter who we are or what we are and where we are. Okay, 6th realm, we are in the hell or in human realm, or we are in the heaven realm, or even in a bodhisattva, as a bodhisattva or Buddha, we all have this intrinsic nature. And also we can look at it in a different way, that this Tathagata Garbha is the womb or sea that we all have. But the Buddha nature, before the Buddha nature manifest, it's a potential. It's a potential that we all have to become a Buddha. Okay, so this has 2 meanings that I frequently saw in the literature, that the 2 aspects to interpret the Tathagata Garbha. And regarding the Tathagata Garbha scriptures, there are, just like Pure Land or some other school, or Yogacara school, Madhyamaka school, there are some very important sutra and sastra that we must read if you want to study this school. The Tathagata Garbha school is no different. And there are 3 sutras and 1 sastras that are the iconic scriptures that we all need to read in order to understand this Tathagata Garbha school. The first is called the Tathagata Garbha Sutra. I talk about this sutra more than 10 years ago here at CMC, and probably most of you did not hear about it. And our Shifu, late Master Sheng Yan, has a Chinese book about this sutra. And the second part is called, the Anuttara Apunataba Nadesa. Okay, I try. The first two sutras are very short. And the third one is our topic, the Śrīmālā Sutra. And the fourth one, also very famous, is called Ratna Gotra Vibhaga, or Uttara Tantra. Okay, it has two names. I'll explain later. But I will briefly touch this four sutra, the four publication scriptures, in order to connect the Śrīmālā Sutra. In other publications, because some of you asked for the references, some important sutra and sastra are listed here, and the most popular one are highlighted in blue, and the Lotus Sutra, the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, Lankavatara Sutra, and the Maha Sutra Lankara. Okay, in blue, this four also has either Sanskrit version or Tibetan versions. And the other four scriptures only exist in Chinese version right now. And so you might hear this sutra, they all talk about Buddha nature. Okay. And the first one is called the Tathagata Sutra. This sutra is illustrated with 9 similes to show that every sentient being has the Buddha nature within. And everyone is already or primordially awakened. Okay, that's the key point for this sutra. And for example, one of the simile described that inside a casting mold, there is a perfectly formed Buddha. The ignorant see the flips of the mold, but the wise know that the Buddha is within. So we already Buddha inside, but we are covered by the affliction outside. So we never see our true self inside. And then so Buddha used this simile to tell us that, look at the inside, look inside, you will find the Buddha nature within. Okay. And so there are 9 similes in this sutra to talk about different levels of relaxation and different levels approach that we can find our true Buddha nature. And in this book, Chinese book, our Shifu, Master Sheng Yan, quotes, to interpret Tathagata Garbha, there are 2 points. One, profoundly, it points out a practitioner's ultimate attainment and the real achievement. And second, expediently, it helps ordinary beings generate faith and motivations to practice. Sometimes we talk about very high philosophy about emptiness, talk about no self, talk about, impermanence. And then people will lose the courage or lose the view. How can I practice? What am I going to? But with the concept of Tathagata Garbha, we know the definite defined goal that we can, move forward. And so that encourage us that we need to practice, and we will finally see it, the Buddha nature within us. And the other one, the other sutra, English term is the discourse on neither increase nor decrease. In short, it's a very short sutra as well. And overall, this sutra talk about 3 levels of existence: the sentient beings, the bodhisattvas, and the Buddha. And all these 3 categories has the Buddha nature. And then called the Dharmakaya. Okay, every sentient beings has the Dharmakaya, like Buddha. And then number 3 is our topic, and then I jump to number 4. Ratna and Uttara Shastras, they talk about the same thing, but it's different publications. The Ratna is more about the verses, and then Uttara more about a commentary. So overall, this Sastra are the compendium of the Tathagata literature. So as you can see that these Sastras collect all this literature regarding related to the Tathagata and then organize it into a very logical form on the topic of Buddha nature. And the original, it was found in a Sanskrit version. And the relationships between the Śrīmālā Sutra and the Ratna or Uttara Sastras are, as you can see, that the Ratna or Uttara Sastras is very important scriptures on Buddha natures, and then it quotes the Śrīmālā Sutra 27 times. Okay, and that means the Śrīmālā Sutra is a very, very important reference for this Shastra. And for example, one vehicle or the intrinsic purity of cell natures. And all this, we will talk about it in the following talks. Okay, now let's get back to our main topic, the Śrīmālā Sutra, the Lion's Road of Queen Śrīmālā. And it was originally written in Sanskrit, but now we cannot find it. And then, due to the Ratna Shastra, that it was frequently quoted, that people know that it should exist in the Sanskrit versions. And then now the most popular English translation is by Alex Wayman. I think it's a couple that translate the Lion's Road of Queen Śrīmālā. If you want to know about the English word translation, you can check it on the website or buy the book. And I majorly use this English translation version, and yet I modified it based on Master Ying Shun's commentaries, and I kind of modified a little bit the English translations. Okay, and then the content and the significance of this Śrīmālā Sutra. Okay, here, this sutra has 15 chapters. Okay, from your left, it can divide it into 4 topics. The prologues talk about the true, just like the title, that the infinite merits of Tathagata. And then so that means when we achieve our Buddha nature, we all have this infinite merits. And then the second part are the causal practice of one vehicle. Okay, so the core teaching of the core significance of this sutra is about one vehicle. And then so the first part is talk about how, what is the causal grounds for us to enter into the one vehicle. And the third part is the ultimate virtues of one vehicle. Is Buddha uses these so many topics to help us understand, what is one vehicle all about. And then the fourth part is, how to enter into the one vehicle. And from the topic of this chapter, you can see that there are many important topics, like making vows, making the initiated aspiration. And the number 4 is embrace the real Dharma, the true reality. This is very important. And then one vehicle, and then we will talk about what is the Buddha nature, what is Dhammakaya, what is the meaning of emptiness or shunyata, and what is the intrinsic purity of the self nature. And finally, what is the true sound of the Tathagata, how we practice in order to see our Buddha nature. So these are the main topics of these Śrīmālā Sutras. And also by reading all these chapters, we need to know that, what these chapters are all about. Okay, the commentaries of this Śrīmālā Sutra, there are five publications. I use the Master Insurance version as the main reference, and then use the Master Huiyuan. Master Huiyuan is the patriarch in Pure Land School, and by Master Kuiji. Master Kuiji is expert in Yogacara, and I use these 3 as a reference to talk about these topics. And there are more like Master Jizang and the Japanese Prince Sotoku. Okay, so if you are interested, you can find all this and to study further. Now, it is the prologue. Okay, usually when we read a sutra, the prologue, that's just a dialogue or a story that that is the reason why Buddha gave a talk or teach this sutra. So prologue is very important to understand that what is the point, what is the main focus that we need to understand this sutra. Okay, so the first, this sutra was taught in Jetavana in Sravasti in India. Okay, this is a very famous place that Buddha talked about Dhamma sutras and other very important sutras here. And the key role, except Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, there is a king, the king of Kosala, and his queen, Marika, and their daughter, Queen Śrīmālā. So the story goes like the king and the queen has a very clever, very wise daughter called Śrīmālā. And Shri means better. Mala is her mother's name, come from her mother's name, Marika. And so Śrīmālā means that she's better than her mother. Okay, so Queen Śrīmālā is married to a king in a kingdom that are far away from his parents, from her parents, and so the daughter Śrīmālā become a queen as well. So this story is like the king and the queen are very good disciples of the Buddha, the Shakyamuni Buddha, and they found that very good teaching and learn a lot from the Shakyamuni Buddha. So they just think that since their daughter is so clever, that she should be able to catch Buddha's teachings very quickly and deeply. So the king and the queen wrote a letter and sent a servant that sent to the daughter of Queen Śrīmālā and explained, how good the Shakyamuni Buddha is, and then encourage Queen Śrīmālā to follow Shakyamuni Buddha to learn the Dharma. And then the Queen Śrīmālā, upon reading the letters, she generated a very sincerity. She wanted to learn from the Buddha. And then so she prayed, she kneeled down and prayed sincerely and wholeheartedly, and saying that if the Lord Buddha may come for the sake of the world, may he with compassion come here on behalf of the teaching for me. So remember, the Shakyamuni, the Lord Buddha is in Sravasti right now, and the Śrīmālā, Queen Śrīmālā is far away somewhere. And then, but Śrīmālā prayed sincerely, please come here, show me. And upon this thought aroused, okay, once she has this thought, the Lord appeared up from in the sky. And the Lord Buddha manifested his inconceivable body while emitting pure bright light pervasively. Okay, so here, a prayer and appear. So for all the practitioners, even though we practice, we should see the Buddha within. But here also, Buddha demonstrate the virtue and the super knowledge from as a Buddha. Okay, so even though we talk about the nature of emptiness, but our Buddha nature has vast super knowledge to do a lot of things to help sentient beings. Here is the demonstrations that when a sentient being sincerely and wholeheartedly pray to the Buddha, and this energy resonate to the Buddha, and then it will, respond. The Buddha will respond because someone prayed to him. And the manifestation or responding of the Buddha varies depending on the virtue of the prayer. Here, the Śrīmālā has a very good virtues. So she is able to see the Buddha manifest in front of her and also see the light emitted by the Buddha. And also she saw the Buddha's body, or, and Buddha has different types of body, and we will talk about that later. So Queen Śrīmālā is able to see Buddha manifest through Buddha's super knowledge. So this is a very magnificent scenario. And now, Śrīmālā, upon seeing Buddha manifest, she started to praise the Buddha. Okay, so I talk about this prayer because all these are pointed to the virtues of Buddha nature, indeed. So we need to, this is our goal of practice, and also this is the achievement that we will get if we really see our Buddha nature within. So the first prayer goes like, the bodily form of the Buddha is so wondrous. It's matchless and incomparable. Now I am, sorry about the typo. Now I am bowing to you, the Lord. Okay, so the Buddha's body, okay, even Buddha manifests as a physical or form body for sentient beings. Still, it's matchless and incomparable. So if you really see that, you will from your heart to praise. Okay, and secondly, your bodily form and knowledge are inexhaustible. Therefore, all dharmas are eternal. Now I am taking refuge in you, the Lord. And this second point about our the Buddha's super knowledge. Yeah, the bodily form is inexhaustible. So we often hear that, you know, above the eighth muni, all the bodhisattva can manifest in many forms in order to help sentient beings. So Buddha has more, that this body form can manifest in innumerable way. Also the knowledge as well. So the knowledge or the wisdom to help sentient beings. And it all showed, you know, all this body form and wisdom can be seen from the bodily form. This is a very tricky part. So like in the Earth Door Sutra, it has the same way that the Earth Door, in the Earth Door Sutra, a girl see a Buddha, a Brahmin, see Buddha's appearance, and she can see what does this appearance means. So this bodily form, this appearance actually is the manifestations of our virtue and wisdom within. And we talked about that before. Even as a human being, we have limited appearance, but from our appearance, some people can see you, the virtues and merits in you. Okay, so here Śrīmālā, Queen Śrīmālā see Buddha's form, bodily form, and then she prayed from her heart. And then further, the praise go further, that you have subdued the unwholesome mind and 4 kinds of bodily wrongdoings to the stage of the unsurrenderable. Thus, I'm bowing to you, King of Dharma, King of the Dharma. Okay, that means if we want to attain the Buddhahood, we need to subdue all the unwholesome minds. Okay, and this, we talk about that in Yogacara school, that we have so many kinds of unwholesome minds. And then with unwholesome mind, we will commit bodily wrongdoings. So all these are clean, pure, to the stage of unsurrenderable. That's the highest level that for the Buddha, for the Buddhahood. So I'm bowing to you. And next is, you know everything omnisciently with your unrestricted wisdom body, and therefore uphold all the Dharma. Now I am bowing to you, the Lord. So here, about the omnisciently, we read that in the Bible as well. Okay, so the problem is what is the scope or scale of this so-called omnisciently? It depends on our knowledge about the cosmology. You know, if we only know this earth, and if you are omnisciently on earth, doesn't mean you are omniscient or omniscient for this in this universe. Okay, and if you are omniscient in this universe, doesn't mean that you are omniscient in the galaxy. Okay, and let alone that the cosmology view for different religions are different, and this is another topic that we need to understand the Buddhist cosmology, what the scope and the scale is, in order to understand what is know everything omnisciently here. Okay, and the wisdom, you know, body can go everywhere. Okay, so unrestricted. The universe, the omnisciently existence, omnisciently know, and they can omnisciently manifest, and therefore the Buddha can uphold all the dharmas. And iPhone raise hand. Any question? Hold on. How can I see it? Can you you want to ask question? Can you want to ask now or later? Can you ask later? Oops, I don't know how to do it. Check. Okay, ask this later. Okay, so in conclude, homage to you, the unmeasurable, homage to you, the incomparable, homage to you, the boundless, homage to you, the incomprehensible. And now is the request. You know, may the Lord now protect me and quicken the seed of enlightenment. May the Lord benefit me in this and the subsequent lives. Okay. As a Buddhist, as a practitioner, actually, the cyclic existence is something that we need to sincerely think about it. Even though we think we practice hard, even though like us, like a monastic, we practice hard, we full time, we devoted our life full time in the monastery, and commit our whole life to practice. But that doesn't guarantee that I can, we can go up and up, upper and upper, and not, not going down. Okay. And so with the power of Buddha or Bodhisattva, sometimes we will pray that, can I achieve make achievement quickly, or can I be protected so I won't go to the lower realms and then go to the hell, or go to fooling around in the samsara, life after life. And in other words, can I achieve the Buddhahood soon? Okay. And then Lord Spork reply. They say, Queen, I have been guiding you for a long time, and you were enlightened in your past life, and I will continue to assist you in this life as well as in your future lives. One time in the retreat, Shifu talked about enlightenment, okay? And she mentioned that, for those who enlighten in their past life, they will quickly pick up the practice in this life, and also they will also experience the enlightenment easily because they have their past experience. But before we all achieve the final Buddhahood, even Bodhisattva, when they vow to reborn in this Saha world, they still forget. They forget their past. They practice in, how high level they practice, or forget that they once enlightened before. But, they can quickly pick up through practice. And then so Queen Śrīmālā obviously forgot. But due to her past practice, she has the so-called very good virtuous root that she quickly pick up what is Dharma, what is the real Dharma, and what it is all about, and also has the ability to invite the Buddha to manifest, and then Buddha just reply. And here it's very important part that the Lord prophesies to Queen Śrīmālā. Without in this life, without achieve the Buddhahood yet, and the Lord Buddha prophesies her, saying that by reason of your virtuous root, form of the merits accumulated by praising the genuine qualities of the Tathagata, you, for incalculable aeons, will experience perfect serenity among gods and men. In all your lives, you will not fail to see me. Just as you now praise me face to face, so you will continue praising, and you will also make offerings to innumerable Buddhas, Lords, for 20,000 aeons. Okay, and people talk about, can women attain Buddhahood? I think this is one of the sutra that tells us that yes, Buddha prophesies women to attain Buddhahood. There are also some other sutra as well. And so this prophesies will come a very important part. When Buddha prophesies someone to become a future Buddha, it must include 4 things. The first is, what is the future name of the Buddha? So after 20,000 aeons, you will become the Tathagata, Arhat, Samya Sambuddha, and Samanta Prabha. Okay, the underlined one, Tathagata means Buddha nature, Arhat means the enlightened one, and the Samya Sambuddha, okay, it's the pervasive knowing enlightened ones. So this is the title for all the Buddha. So all the Buddha has the title of the Tathagata, Arhat, Samyak Sambodh Buddha. And the name in green means pervasive light. Okay, that's the name for the Queen Śrīmālā when she become a Buddha. And the second part that Buddha need to mention for his prophecy is that about the Buddha land. So, okay, there is a Buddha called pervasive light, and he has with his virtues that he will has his or her Buddha land. So Queen Śrīmālā's Buddha land will be no evil realm, no sickness, no old age, no disagreeable disturbance, and no even the names for the unvirtuous actions. Okay, so this Buddha land, so good. And next, the Buddha land. Who is in the Buddha land? It shouldn't be just the Buddha himself or herself. So the sentient beings in the Buddha lands will here for Śrīmālā, Queen Śrīmālā, any sentient beings born in your Buddha land will surpass the the heaven deities in physical strength and lifespan, and in all the supplies for 5 sensual needs with all enjoyment. Okay, this Paranirmitavas, this heaven is the highest heaven in desire realm. Okay, in the desire realm there are 6 heavens, and this heaven is in the highest. So that means you have the deity in this highest heaven in the desire realm will have the highest enjoyment, sensual enjoyment there. So also in Queen Śrīmālā's Buddha land, all the sentient beings will have this highest enjoyment there. And how about what they are doing in the Pure Land? That's called Dharma. What is the practice there? So all sentient beings in your Buddha land practice the Mahayana. Okay, so accordingly, the beings who have created virtuous rule will all gather in your Buddha land. Okay, now we heard about Buddha's prophesies to the Queen Śrīmālā, and then describe, tell us that the name, usually the name represent the virtues of that specific Buddha. So pervasive light is the future Buddha name for Queen Śrīmālā. And then the Buddha land here. The Buddha land is, no sufferings. Okay, and so if you recall Amitabha Sutra, also Amitabha is the Buddha in the Pure Land of the Western Pure Land, right? That's parallel. And then all the sentient beings who chant Amitabha's name in a certain condition, then they will all go to the Western Pure Land, right? And here is all the sentient beings in Queen Śrīmālā's future Buddha land will be surpassed. Actually surpass means transcend the desire realm. Okay, so it's go beyond desire realm already, and then the practice is Mahayana. Okay, now upon the prophecy, then we go to the main context of this Śrīmālā, that the Śrīmālā received this prophecy, and then from her heart or from her past virtue, from her past practice that it naturally, speak out the 10 great vows and 3 aspirations. And that's our next week. So we will talk about the 10 great vows and 3 aspirations. Okay, now I open for the questions. I will end here for today's talk.
Thank you, Venerable Chang. Now it's a Q&A session. So if anyone have questions, feel free to raise your hand, and our volunteer will unmute you so you can ask Fashi questions directly.
Oops, that person dropped. Okay, no problem. So I guess one thing I can talk more about is even though we practice, Chan school, Zen school or Chan school, sometimes we think that we use our self-power. We practice silent illumination, we practice Hua To, we practice, the mindfulness, and etc. Then we will see the nature of emptiness, and we will see the no self, and then we got enlightened. But that doesn't mean upon seeing the nature of emptiness means that you attain the Buddhahood. Okay, the Buddhahood, the Buddha nature has more. Okay, so I remember just a very quick story. I remember one time when Sifu has a pilgrimage back from China, and we look at all the pictures that he took, and I remember Sifu showed me a picture that he took in maybe Guanyin temple, and then she suddenly asked me, "Do you believe that pray work? You pray to Guanyin Bodhisattva, you will get benefit. Do you believe in that?" She asked me directly, because I am kind of very, very logical, very not very spiritual person. Okay, I'm very logic, and everything you need to show me evidence kind of people. And so I seldom pray. I never ask something for free. And you pray and you bless me, and I didn't do anything. That doesn't make sense to me at that time when I was a lay person. So Sifu asked me, "Do you believe pray will work?" Twice. And I didn't reply. I don't know how to reply. I shouldn't say it doesn't work, but I shouldn't say it works. I don't know how to reply. And Sifu just very softly told me, very firmly told me that you need to believe that it will work. You need to believe that prayer will work. Twice. And I look at Sifu and I don't know why she told me this. He told me this. But later on, I finally, after I leave home and become a nun for many years, and I suddenly know why. Because we need to have a faith in our Buddha nature. We know the nature of emptiness, so that we know that we have unlimited, unrestricted power of the Buddha mind. This is all we have. And this unlimited power will manifest through the need of the sentient beings. So the mechanism is kind of like, if you don't need help, I won't do anything. If you need help, then I will do it spontaneously with the Buddha's super knowledge and my wisdom. Okay, so for practitioners, we cannot believe half part, only half part of the emptiness, and ignore the other part of emptiness. And that's what this sutra is all about. We need to correctly understand what the sunyata means, what the emptiness means. And this resonance and the correspondence mechanism is a very important part for us to believe.